Welcome to this practice. This is going to be a short, sweet, gentle flow, staying mainly on the ground, so no standing balance poses today, just something to gently warm you up where you can stay relaxed and not have to put out a lot of effort, but maintain like this mindful focus. So let's start by closing our eyes. Rest your hands gently on your knees, your thighs. Breathe in and out slowly through your nose. And we'll do a box breathing practice together. So if you imagine a box that's equal sides, we're going to inhale to a count of 4, hold the breath in for a count of 4, exhale to a count of 4, and hold the breath out for a count of 4. And I'll guide you through the first 2 rounds. And then you'll count on your own, and you can lengthen the count. Keep it even, but you could lengthen it to 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever you want. So let's begin together by exhaling and inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Repeat 3 more rounds on your own, counting to yourself. And trying to keep the breath slowly moving evenly throughout all the counts, whatever length you choose. And feel the movement that grows inside you with each breath. And see if you can feel the subtleties of the movements. And when you're finished with your 3rd round, breathe without counting and just notice how you feel. You can keep your eyes closed or open them and begin to circle around your hips. So you're rocking on your pelvis, circling forward to the side and back and to the opposite side. Notice if it feels a little stiff in the beginning or if it feels pretty fluid right away. And let your body maybe bow forward a little bit more as you revolve around your hips. And now let's switch the direction. And just one more circle here. Now come back to center, and we're going to bring the right knee forward, coming right out of the right hip, and the left knee out to the side. You can bring your feet in a little bit. So I like to have like about a 45-degree angle here. You can always open it up a little bit wider if you want. And we're going to twist to our right. And you could do little push-ups here, like bending your elbows, lowering down. You could activate by pressing your feet into the floor a little bit more. And the next time you press up, circle around. And reach back towards your back foot. And again, you can just do little pulses here. And now pick your knees up and think of pulling this left hip back as you flip it. So now we're doing the same thing but facing the opposite direction. So we twist toward the left. And you can bend and straighten your elbows, moving nice and slowly. And come back up to center and twist toward your back leg. And little movements here. Good. Flip your knees up and come onto your hands and knees in tabletop. And first, just see if you can circle your hips. So focusing on a nice rotation of the hips. And then reverse the circles. Now, see if you can keep the hips relatively still and circle the rib cage. I think of almost like as if you were circling on the inside of a big barrel. Reverse the circles. Come back to neutral and floss the shoulders. Keeping the elbows straight, lower down. Almost like a push-up with your arms straight. And you could really push the floor away and let your back round up. And you could sink down, letting the ribs lower and the tailbone lift up. So doing cat-cows, bring this into cat-cows. Then you could add your head and your neck. Walk your knees back and stretch your arms forward. You can rest your forehead on the floor. Bring your right hand around behind you so that your hand lands by your foot with the palm facing up. And reach your hands away from each other. Swing the left arm back behind you, palm facing up so both hands are back. Let your shoulders drop open. And swing your right arm out to the side and forward. Reach your hands away from each other. Bring your left arm forward. And this time we'll rise up and come all the way forward through cat and into cobra. Open up here. Engage the legs. Hug your legs in towards each other. Engage your glutes. Press your feet down. And then lift up and back to child's pose. And just roll back and forth between cobra and child's pose. And you're welcome to turn that cobra into an upward facing dog by pressing into your feet, lifting the thighs up a little bit off the floor, but trying to keep the shoulders open and back. And lower the knees down and back. And just do a few more of these, moving with your breath. Now come back into tabletop and twist to your right and thread the right arm underneath your left elbow. Not bringing the shoulder down, this time just reaching it across and back open to the right. And reach your arm across. One more time, back open to the right. And lower your hand down. Same thing, other side. So twist to the left. And reach your left arm, your left shoulder across. Open back up to the left and reach across to the right. Last one, open up and reach across. Come back into tabletop and step your right foot forward. Bring your knee past your toes and shift your hips over to the left and back to the right. Just shifting back and forth. And shift your hips back, stretching your front leg forward, coming into a runner's lunge. And you can bow over your leg and then push away and sink down. Just doing the best you can. Dig your front heel into the ground and press your back toes into the ground. So your legs are a little more active. And bring your right foot down. Bring your right hand to your right thigh. Reach your left arm up. And see if you can feel a little space in your waist. And keep that space as you reach across. Bend your left elbow and bring it to the top or the outside of your right knee. Bring your hands together and stretch your elbows apart. And release your arms, front and back. And you can stay here, or you could try reaching back for your heel with your toes tucked or untucked. It's like, where is it? Okay, there it is. And you have to press the front knee forward, expand through your rib cage, and reach back. And hug your legs in to come back. And step back into your tabletop. And just move around. Step your left foot forward, reaching your left knee forward past your toes. So it's really important to have good dorsiflexion in our ankles for walking, for squatting. And you can shift your weight into the right hip. You could engage the right leg by pressing the foot into the floor and just shift your weight back and forth. And shift your hips back. Bowing over your leg. Again, activate your leg by pressing your heel into the ground. You can soften over your leg. And you can rise up. Any kind of movement you want to explore here. You could internally and externally rotate the hips. And step your foot forward. Bring your left hand to your left thigh. Reach your right arm up. Creating space, and keep the space as best you can. Reach your arm over like an arc. And bend your elbow, bring it to the outside or the top of your knee. Press your hands together, expand the elbows apart. Keep your legs active as you lift your elbow off your knee and extend your arms out. And now you can reach back, but I'm reaching forward as I'm reaching back. So I'm trying to press the hips forward as I reach the hand back. And you could reach your top arm up or back. And then come back up. Lower your hands down. Come back into your tabletop. And just gently move around. Well, sit back on your heels. Slide your hands back. Bring your hands back behind your feet. Squeeze your legs in towards each other and see if you can lift your knees up off the floor. Think of contracting your abs so your knees pull up, and maybe you can even find a little balance here. And bring your hands back behind you again. You might want to bring yourself forward onto the mat. And we're going to reach back with our hands. Reach the knees forward this time. Lift your hips up just to, you can replace the heels a little further up your glutes. Walk your hands back. You can bend your elbows. You could bend and straighten. You might be able to bring one elbow down and then the other elbow down. The knees are going to want to pull apart, so see if you can squeeze them in. Press your toes into the floor, and you might be able to lower your back onto the floor, but only do this if it feels comfortable. So this will give you a really good stretch in your quads, in your hip flexors. Now to come back up, I like to just slide my elbows back a little bit, press into the elbows, walk the hands back, and come on back up. And stretch forward into child's pose. And come on back up again. This time, sit back on your heels and bring your left hand back by your left heel. Press into your hand, lift up through your hips, press your hips forward and you can reach your arm over to the side so you're in a little bit of a diagonal. Keep pressing the hips forward, squeezing the legs. You don't want to feel any crunching or pain in your low back. So if you think of tucking your tailbone underneath you, squeezing your glutes like underneath your hips, that will help. And lower your hips down. Same thing, other side. You could even bring your hand to the back of your head and press your head into your hand as you push your hand up into your head. And lower back down. So there's another variation we can do where we're going more into a straight back bend instead of kind of a rotated back bend. So you can do what we just did, or you can try this other way. But it's really important to keep your glutes engaged, your legs engaged, so you don't just crunch into your low back. So we can start the same way. Bring your left hand by your left heel. Press your hips up and forward. Reach your hand behind your head, and then see if you can lift your chest toward the sky. So the right shoulder goes out to the right side. Squeeze the legs up. And you could even try bringing your hands into prayer and step up and lower back. We'll lift up and lower back. So let's try the same thing with the right side. So bring the right hand by your foot. Lift your hips up. Bring your hand behind your head. Squeeze your legs, squeeze the glutes. And then maybe open your chest toward the sky more. Maybe bring your hands to your heart and lift up and lower down. So that's a pretty good back bend, a pretty like a little bit of a quad burning practice. So let's try that again. So left hand comes down, press your hips forward, hand behind your head, press your head into your hand, squeeze your legs in. Maybe open up into more of a back bend, and maybe bring your hands together in front of your heart. Whichever way you choose, we'll end up back into our kneeling, sitting down kneeling. Right hand goes by the right foot. Lift your hips up, bring your hand behind your head. Push your head into your hand. And then maybe open up across the chest, squeeze the legs in. Maybe bring your hands to prayer. And come on up. Make your way into downward facing dog. An opportunity to stretch out your back after those back bends. And we'll walk our feet forward. And come into a low squat, keeping your legs engaged. And then maybe sink your hips down. And it's always nice to do some twists after a back bend. So we'll just do some gentle twists. So lower onto your back. Open your arms out to the side. Bring your legs into a 90 degree position with your knees stacked over your hips and your feet in line with your knees. Lift your hips up and shift them to the left. And twist your knees over to the right as you turn your head to the left. And we're just going to relax here. Feel free to make any little adjustments. And if you try and bring your left hip forward a little bit, or bring your left knee forward, it'll take you into a deeper twist. But that might not be what you want here. Like I'm feeling more like I just want to relax. And feel your breath moving in and out through your nose. And as you stay here, you might find that your body just wants to adjust a little bit more. Just change the position slightly. And focus how you're feeling in your shoulders and your hips and your low back. And we'll stay here just a little longer. And squeeze the legs together. Roll back onto your back. Shift your hips to the right. And twist your lower body legs to the left. Again, do those little adjustments that help you to feel more grounded, more comfortable. And just let yourself relax here. Just a few more breaths here. Now squeeze your legs together, pull your right hip down, come back onto your back, center your hips. Cross your right ankle above your left knee for eye of the needle. Thread your right arm in between your legs. And you can interlace your fingers on the back of your thigh or the front of your shin. If you have your fingers interlaced on the front of your shin, you also have the option to slide your hands a little bit closer to your ankle and push your leg up into your hands. Notice how that feels, and then you can relax to feel the difference. And it's always a good idea to be creative in your yoga so that you have an idea, you have these poses to work with, but work with variations within the poses. And release and switch. So the left ankle is crossed above the right knee. Interlace your fingers on the front of your shin or the back of your thigh with the option to press your right leg up into your hands if you're holding the front of your shins. Relax your shoulders. Release your leg, float your arms and legs up into dead bug pose. Let everything relax. If your low back isn't pressing into the floor, so you begin to tilt your pelvis and that little bit of a posterior tilt. So what I've been talking about is your glutes are hugging underneath you. And that should help to flatten your low back. You can bring some movement into your fingers and your toes. You might hear some little sounds. And hug your right knee into your chest, stretch your left leg out. And come back up into dead bug. And bend the left knee and stretch the right leg out. And pull both knees in. And gently stretch out for a very short savasana. You're always welcome to stay longer, but we'll just spend about, maybe a minute or less here. You could roll your head from side to side. You could wiggle your feet around. And just take your time settling in so that you can find that sweet, full surrender. And pay attention to your breath, feeling the rhythm and the cadence of your breath, helping you to relax. And if you want to do a little palming, you could cup your hands and seal around your eyes with the outer edges of your hands so nothing is touching your eyelids, but you're blocking out the light a little bit more, bringing yourself into a little more of a deeper darkness, which is so essential to relaxation. And you're always welcome to stay longer in your savasana. But if you feel like you don't have time to stay longer, it's okay to slowly begin to come out of your savasana, moving slowly and mindfully. Coming up into a comfortable seat. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. I really appreciate your time, your energy, your focus, and I would love to hear any comments or questions. Please share this with your friends, hit the like button, and hope to see you again soon. Bye.